It's not fair for Labour to claim credit for falling immigration when they've only been in power for 5 months. Why don't they focus on taking the blame for everything that's wrong with the country now they've been in power for 5 whole months? I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined, as ever, by my producer, Martin. And what a show we have for you this week, eh, Martin?
Oh, yes, indeed. We spoke to the man who started the petition calling for a new general election. We had Veronica De'Ath on from the Don't Let Unspecified People Die campaign to talk about the assisted dying bill, and Eshaan Akbar joins us to talk about whether pub names are offensive to animals. But before all that, a quick thank you to Darren Brown for signing up to our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/non-censored, where he'll be getting all our segments in video and bonus podcasts, as well as this episode early and without adverts.
Let's start with the continuing rebellion in the United Kingdom, with a petition calling for a new general election reaching 2.8 million signatures.
How many of those are real British people?
All of them, I imagine. It's not like you can just write whatever you want in a web form without anyone checking it.
Of course, yeah.
Anyway, we spoke to the man who started the petition himself to find out why he did it and what he's doing next. Let's take a listen. Well, absolute pleasure to speak to you today, Mark. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's been an exciting couple of days coming on all these things.
Well, it has been, hasn't it? So you started this petition wanting another general election, and it's just gone crazy. So many people with you there, Mark, often people not from the UK. That's how strong it is.
Well, yes, it's gone internationally viral, and then lots of people who live in England also go elsewhere. So they might, I don't know how IP addresses work, but I think they probably just, if I was on holiday, I would have signed it there.
Yeah, I think so. And Elon Musk's followers, a large amount, of course, who are British. It's absolutely extraordinary. What was your reason for wanting to put that petition out there?
I put a petition out to have another general election because I want another general election is the main sort of thrust of it, to be honest.
Yes. That does make sense, yeah.
Labour, sure. I think that they just have, there's a lot of unfulfilled promises, and what we thought was going to happen hasn't, and I think it's time just to have another go, I think.
Hear, hear. What would you say to some of the naysayers that say that this is democracy and you have to wait for another general election? You can't be having petitions on it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. But I think that it's important to also question. And yeah, we should have another one when the other one is meant to happen. But also, I'd like one now. But I do agree with that.
Yes, totally agree.
Right. Sorry, I do have to jump in here, actually. Mark, I mean, congratulations on your petition. It's clearly doing very well.
Thanks so much. Well, I mean, that's, not down to me. It's down to the people using their voice to sign my petition. Yes. But I did start it, so thanks.
One of the first things that I think you did touch on earlier is a lot of these signatures are coming from overseas. In fact, I saw some interactions online on X, the Everything app, and there were people outwardly, just openly saying that they were not British and they had signed it because they wanted to involve themselves in this cause, which, it undermines the whole point of it. Surely it's only British people should be having a say in British democracy.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm often talking about, how only British people should be involved in most things. But I think it is interesting that, this is, I think you guys probably talk about Donald Trump and he's not from here. So I think it's okay for people to talk about things that are in different countries. Like I sometimes sometimes I even eat food that's from different countries. So I think it's okay that people can sign can sign it, and I think it's a good thing.
Do you think it could do something? Do you think that we could be looking at another general election?
Well, I hope so. I mean, they're going to debate it in Parliament on the 6th of January, I think. And I was thinking of starting another petition so that they do it sooner.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, that's a really good idea.
And then if that gets enough signatures, they'll have to debate whether or not to do it sooner. And hopefully that debate would come sooner than the other debate they've already scheduled.
Yes.
It's just when you find something that you're quite good at, I think this has gone really well. I think I'll probably try and do some more petitions, I think.
Oh, right. So this is not the last one that we'll see from you.
Well, no, people seem to like it. It's got broad appeal across the world. So I think, as a pub owner and landlord, I think probably the next one will be tax breaks for pubs. That might be a good one.
Okay.
Great.
Because everybody likes pubs.
Yes.
Especially me.
What I love here, Mark, is this is how democracy should work, shouldn't it? You don't like something, you petition for it again. You don't like that, you petition. You continue going until we get the result that we deserve.
Yeah.
And that's democracy.
Right.
Yes.
There was another petition not so long ago for calling for a second EU referendum, which got about 6 million, over 6 million signatures.
Martin, completely different thing. That's a completely different thing. That is so different, Martin. That's like looking at black and calling it white.
How?
That's like looking at a dog and calling it a spaceman. It's a different thing, Producer Martin.
But how?
Martin, it's just completely different. Because, Martin, it's like looking at a fish and saying it's a squirrel.
Yes, and how though?
Because, Martin, it's totally different, Martin. It's totally different. It's like looking at a little ladybird and saying, oh, it's a hippo. It's totally different.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm just wondering how.
Oh, Martin, how it is it's just totally different, Martin. It's like looking at a chair and saying it's a foot massage.
Oh, that does make sense, actually.
There we go.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a good point.
But I am excited, Mark, by this petition business you've got. Are you being inundated with offers? Are other people going to want you to petition things for them?
Well, yeah. A lot of people have asked me to petition for all the nerds to get off Blue Sky. That's one of the ones they've asked me to do.
Good luck with that. That sounds like a bit of an undertaking.
Some people have asked to just close the middle lane on motorways so that people can't drive in it anymore.
Yes.
One guy said, give Jeremy Clarkson whatever he wants. That was a petition that we came up with. So I thought of going to do that. And I thought, I'm open to suggestions from the floor, from you guys, because it's quite easy to just go on that website and make a petition. I've recently started one to help get my extension approved.
And how's that going? How many signatures has that got?
4, the wife and kids so far, but hopefully 2 more.
Yes.
And the other one is my wife to let me choose what we watch on the telly.
Okay, these are getting more and more specific, aren't they? That's
well, it's very important to be specific. I mean, the general election is specifically calling for a general election, and this one specifically is about the bear.
With your wife asking you to let you choose what you want on TV, how many signatures will you need to take that to a committee?
Well, I think it's something like 1 million or 2 million. To get it debated, maybe it's 10,000. We're on 8,600 at the moment. A lot from the UAE, but I think that's fine.
Yeah, sure. You do open yourself up to a bit of a potential struggle with all these petitions, because what is there to stop other people, dare I say more popular people, starting their own petitions in order to do the opposite of what you want?
Well, I totally agree with you. That is a danger.
I mean, imagine if Alan Titchmarsh decided, actually, no, I don't like Mark. I'm going to use my vast celebrity power to petition for you not to be able to watch The Bear.
Well, I think Alan and I would get on really well, so I think that's a bad example.
Yeah, no, but that's just because he's a great lad. But
yeah, and I think he's been
I
to
could
the
have
pubs
said someone else.
Twice. Well, okay, let's assume it's someone else. I totally agree with you. I see
Andy
what you're saying.
Peters.
Someone bigger, than me could get it, but the thing is, no, none of those people. They may have success in in gardening or whatever it is, but they don't have success in petitioning. And I have done the most successful petition there's probably ever been. So when I think I'll just petition. I'll re-petition him. So repetition is the key to success, and I'll just petition his petition.
Yeah, it does get quite complicated quite quickly, doesn't it?
Battle of the petitions.
Mm-hmm. So,
do you think people might end up, as these extend, people might be able to end up going to war because their petitions are not recognised?
Well, they could. Hopefully, they would just keep the fighting purely petitionary.
Right.
Just a war of petition where they just keep doing different petitions rather than actually going to war. But the thing is, it's really hard to make a good petition. Like the wording has got to be specific. I said, I'm petitioning the government for a general election. If someone said, I'd like a general election, that wouldn't have worked as well. The word petition. It's not as easy. People see a viral video or something, they think, whoa, that's easy. It's not easy. It's very difficult.
Have you thought about selling your skills online to other people to show them how that they can make petitions in cool, new, interesting ways?
Yeah, well, I had thought about that, but I thought it wasn't necessarily good to do that without a mandate. So I've called a petition to petition myself to start a petitioners university.
Right.
So I will only do that if the petition goes well.
Well, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. It's always great to have an ordinary man on the show, and good luck with all your petitioning. And I'm going to petition for this interview to be over now.
Okay, well, you'll have to put that on the website because
it'll take too long, Harriet. Just tell him
it's
over.
Well, just
say
it's
stop.
not a laughing matter because this is a serious thing.
We can leave once you've said stop.
Right, stop. This week, Parliament are voting on the controversial assisted dying bill.
Yes, this is a big, complicated, nuanced subject with a lot of strong feelings and good points on both sides. So we wanted to have a fair, calm, balanced debate that looked at the pros and the cons and the various outcomes of assisted dying policies across the world. And we did.
Sadly, it was terrible radio. So instead, here's our interview with one person from one campaign with big opinions that we think we can clip up and make viral. Let's take a listen. Veronica, thank you for coming on to talk to us about this very difficult issue, of which, of course, you are almost at the forefront with your movement. Don't Let Unspecified People Die campaign. Mm-hmm. What made you decide to get stuck into this?
It was deeply frightening to see that people were now trying to find reasons to essentially off members of society that they don't feel worthy of being here anymore. And that deeply frightened me, these unspecified people who maybe live a lifestyle that isn't perfect to everyone. So people who are close to them essentially are wanting to off them. Is that what we want? For these unspecified people who maybe they enjoy fine dining and it's their business what they spend their money on.
Right. So it's very sort of specific unspecified people, isn't it?
No, because it could be anyone.
It could be anyone.
With money, someone who enjoys their life. And yes, sometimes these people, their children have spent their childhoods at home eating spaghetti hoops on toast, while maybe their parent, she's spent her time eating in very fine restaurants, Michelin-starred restaurants all over the country, all over the world. Maybe that's been happening and the children don't like it. And maybe that unspecified parent of any gender, she is afraid that the children essentially want to off her, and that's very scary. Don't you think that's very scary?
Okay, well, Veronica, first of all, I'd say we probably don't want to call it offing.
Well, that's
don't want to
what
say
it
offing.
is.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't
It's like
sound...
mob killing, isn't it?
Well, it's not. I don't think it is like that so much. I mean, it's a very complex.
It's only if they're dying anyway, Veronica.
It is only if they're dying anyway, but who knows where it could end? It could be that we all surely are very worried about unspecified people whose children maybe have a bone to pick with their parent.
Right.
How she's behaved for their entire lives.
Veronica, could I ask, has this this unspecified person, could they have maybe talked to their children about this?
Well, maybe she's tried and they say, no, it's gone too far. And now she's living in fear that they could find a way around this bill to off her. You need to let
How many children does this unspecified woman, I'm assuming she's a woman.
It could be any gender, but she has 2 children.
Right. Right.
Charlotte and David.
What sort of ages? Charlotte and David, right, yeah.
Well, they're probably in their 20s now, which is why they can make decisions to off their own bloody mother.
Right, yeah, no, that is concerning, sure.
Yeah, thank you. And that's why the Don't Let Unspecified People Die campaign had to be started, and I had to start it.
Veronica, just looking at your Don't Let Unspecified People Die campaign, I'm just on your website here. It does seem to be that all the examples seem to be about this woman and her 20-something children, David and Charlotte.
Charlotte.
It does seem to be the only example of an unspecified person here on your website. I just wondered why that was.
Yeah, no, I just felt it was important when I set up this campaign to make it clear to people that there is a human being's life that they want to take away. These children want to take, these 2 children want to take away. So if you make it clear, if people get to know the human being, then they wouldn't be so keen to just throw them in the bin like they never existed. Just because they maybe have money that they want.
And you talk a lot on the website about an irritating dog called Samson.
Chappie.
Chappie, yes.
Chappie and Samson.
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, these are unspecified people, but people have dogs, don't they?
They do have dogs.
And
hypothetically, they could be called Samson and Chappie.
Yeah, they could. Those are both good names for dogs. It's a Yorkshire Terrier and a larger dog, a Labrador. And maybe Chappie was a difficult dog with a biting problem where the unspecified person, the mother, bit the dog. Maybe the children, Charlotte in particular, didn't like it when that happened. And maybe they've always sort of carried that around with them.
Yeah.
And is that a reason to just off someone?
Right, Veronica, I think, first of all, no one's getting offed right now. I'd say...
because of me.
No, if I could... if I had a moment to talk to this unspecified person, whoever they are, if they exist or not, I would say to them, maybe just, first of all, don't worry. Nothing's changing right now. You're not crazy. This is a,
I know I'm not.
I'm just saying,
perfectly reasonable.
I'm supporting your position there.
Thank you.
It's a difficult position to find yourself in.
Because he's waffling.
Oh, yeah.
Veronica, just as a counterpoint, what do you say about the unspecified people who perhaps have a very, very irritating mother-in-law who's called, I don't know, Audrey Rose. And Audrey Rose, she's got this lovely house, this big house she doesn't use. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you just think, Audrey Rose, it's your time to go. She's annoying everyone. Her time is to go. And, maybe she's got a daughter-in-law who's got a modest house, but it could do with being a bit bigger and would make much better use of Audrey Rose's house.
Harriet, I should point out there that I think by mistake you just used your mother-in-law's
no, it's
name.
Unspecified.
But
unspecified, Martin.
Yeah, but that is your actual
Martin.
Mother-in-law's
Martin,
name,
it could be anyone.
Of course, no, but just as an example.
It could be you, Martin.
Well, I think in this situation like that, Harriet, we can fight these bills, but if they come into place, maybe it's a case then of the mother-in-law's got to get in there first.
Well, one of the concerns that I think a lot of people are worried about is where the funding is coming for both campaigns, for either side. For you, Veronica, where does the money for the Don't Let Unspecified People Die group come from?
I am independently wealthy, and I can spend my money on whichever I like.
Okay, sure, yeah, no,
this
absolutely.
campaign is very important to me, and that's my money can go on that if I so wish for.
my follow-up question would be if an unspecified person were to be spending their money on a campaign group, do you think that would make their children more or less likely to want to off them?
Well, I'm being unspecified here, but in the unspecified case of the example I'm using, it's made them really angry.
Yeah.
They've actually sent some really angry texts. Maybe.
Right.
And do you think they'd be able to get around the law? Because, of course, this bill isn't, you are not supposed to just sort of be able to off people. I mean, do you think there's a way to get around it? So, for example, if someone did, an unspecified person did have a rather irritating mother-in-law called Audrey Rose, would there be, looking at this bill in lots of ways, it seems to not really allow for kind of the offing of relatives you don't like. And I just wondered, Veronica, what you think the loophole that you're worried about and that perhaps could be exploited by another unspecified person who perhaps is on the opposite side to you.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what this campaign is about. And if it so should come to pass and such, I will get in there first.
But also, I would like to know the exact loophole. That would be really helpful, just to know that if this law does pass, what an unspecified person would do to get rid of Audrey Rose.
Well, I believe it's the worry that people have. The worry that people have is that it could just be simply ticking a box on a website and they're gone within 20 minutes. And people have got that worry.
Well, it's probably not.
Some of them are walking around constantly, like Henry Hill in Goodfellas, looking over their shoulder, worrying that David and Charlotte could just do it at any moment and get away with it.
In
on
Goodfellas,
my website.
He had done a lot of bad stuff, though, hadn't he? He's like, I mean, he is the protagonist and we love him, but he was a bit of a bad egg.
He took his wife to some nice restaurants, though.
Nice restaurants are wonderful. I would have loved to have gone to the Copacabana in the 60s. And if David and Charlotte got bloody problem with their parent dreams, then that's not her problem, it's their problem. They're in their 20s now. It's time to just get on with your own lives and stop having a problem with the way I live mine and how she spends her money.
I think at this point, I should probably just flag up that murder is very much still illegal. That's not up for grabs.
Not if this bill comes to pass, Martin.
No, Martin, apparently you're just able to tick a box. That's what Veronica says.
It's going to be about ticking a box on a website. 20 minutes later, they're gone.
Rose is gone. Then we're out.
Unless she gets in there first.
Unless she gets in there first. She won't get in there first. Anyway, Veronica, thank you so much. This is a very sensitive issue, and I appreciate the kind of generic nature of how you've looked over the whole problem. And I wish you every luck with your campaign, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, and if it comes to pass, have your finger hovering over the box to tick, because trust me, if they get you first, you're gone. And then how are you going to go eat down the Ritz? You can't, because you're dead.
That's very sad. If you are enjoying the show, please consider supporting us by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/noncensored, where for just £5 a month, you'll get the show without adverts before anyone else, as well as videos of all our segments and exclusive bonus podcasts. Finally, what's your favourite pub?
It's probably my local, the Coach and Horses.
Well, how would you feel if it got changed to the Horse and Coaches?
What else about it changes?
Is the name changing not enough to horrify you, Martin? That shouldn't surprise me. You're exactly the sort of person who donates to PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, who are coming for the Great British Pub. To explain more, here's Eshaan Akbar with his hot and spicy takeaway of the week. Let's take a listen. Eshaan Akbar, hello.
Hello, Harriet. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It is a few days away till my favourite time of the year, December, of course. Is
that because of Christmas?
No, I have 3 family birthdays this month. And,
3 family birthdays. Is that what they do, in your religion?
Well, I'm of no religion. I don't know.
Atheism. Is that what you mean, Harriet?
No, Martin, I mean the one that Eshaan's do.
Okay. Well, I think I was pretty clear that I don't really practice any faith.
Well, it's nice to have 3 birthdays in a row, though, isn't it? So close to Christmas. That's a full
Which is your
party,
favourite one?
Oh.
Religion or birthday?
Oh, what a question. Okay, do religion first.
Well, I think the most interesting is probably Zoroastrianism.
No, what is that?
It's hard to spell, isn't
That's
it?
made up.
No, it's a Middle Eastern Persian faith.
Oh, one of those. Well, never mind.
Never mind.
Never mind. Well, that's probably where the 3 birthday thing comes from, isn't it?
No, the birthdays has come from people being born on 3 separate days in the month of December.
Oh, I see. I thought it was one person who had 3 birthdays. Like, like when you have long weddings that go on for a week.
Just sex in March.
Sorry,
I think
Producer Martin.
that's what leads to birthdays in December, isn't it? Sex in March.
And specifically March.
Yeah, because it's 9 months. Okay.
Yeah, it's the usual.
Full gestation period. But some people are born prematurely.
Well, absolutely.
Are you discounting the people that
Could have been April.
Right, this is I've lost the plot on this conversation. So, Eshaan Akbar, tell us, what is your hot and spicy takeaway of the week?
Well, actually, it's quite related to what Martin was talking about, in terms of disregarding the plight of premature babies. In this particular instance, we're talking about PETA. Well, I'm sure an organisation you're familiar with, Harriet, PETA.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
the animal rights group.
Ugh, yes.
For those who are unfamiliar, PETA stands for the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. They have
The one with the naked ladies.
Yes, that's the one.
Lots of they love their naked ladies.
Yes, they do. Just
Naked ladies in a cage. And we're supposed to look at it and go, oh, no, that's not sexy at all. It's about animals, apparently.
I don't think... Are you supposed to look? I shouldn't be looking at naked ladies in cages, should you?
Well, that's what PETA want.
I'm not sure I've been seeing the same adverts you
There are
have.
lots of naked ladies in cages.
Your algorithm
we have slightly different algorithms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what they used to do.
Right. In
Look
any
it
case,
up, boys.
PETA...
Carry on.
In any case, PETA have taken a pub in Birmingham that I've frequented called the Sly Old Fox. It's a pub right next to the Glee Club in Birmingham. PETA have said that they should rename the Sly Old Fox to something else because the current name is offensive to foxes.
Oh, for goodness sake.
You can't be going around calling foxes sly, and they suggested a name change from sly to clever. Now,
Oh, come on.
my hot and spicy take is this. Whilst I think it's a tiny waste of time to worry about foxes' feelings, I do think there is some merit in not naming pubs after animals, but naming them after humans. So how about changing it to the clever fox? We change the sly old fox to the sly old women.
Why is it a woman?
Well, because I've met some foxy ladies in that pub. And there's some women.
I see.
Some sly old women in there.
Is that
That's very naughty.
Very cheeky.
is that a joke?
No,
Was that a cheeky
I
joke?
don't know. I think he's being naughty. I can't tell whether it's a joke or it's a sexy talk.
I think it's all this talk about naked women in cages that's done it.
That's what PETA does. That's what PETA's all about. And now they're persecuting our pubs.
They are
Listen,
persecuting our pubs.
I think that, to be honest, we've got a couple of things going on here. First of all, my question to PETA would be who's telling these foxes about what's being written about them?
Someone is snitching.
Or who's teaching foxes to read? That
The
seems like
Fantastic Mr. Fox, maybe?
a recipe for disaster.
Was it?
Well, yes. I mean, what next?
Well, you've got to be careful about teaching foxes to read as well, because they're dreadfully sly. They'll use it against you.
Okay, well, no, this is the point. This is what PETA's trying to say, that it's the messaging that we're getting
sly old foxes.
partly from
Sorry to any
pubs.
foxes listening to this.
No, they are. They're sly. You've got to watch them.
Although it will, of course, cost a little bit of money for the pub to change all of their menus and their website and their branding across the board. Perhaps changing it to the clever old fox.
Oh, no. See, Producer Martin, when does it end?
It's
They'll be
still a nice
attacking
name.
all our pubs.
Old is offensive, isn't it? You've got to take old out, surely.
No, you're allowed to be old.
No.
Not if it's the sly old woman, as Eshaan wants. Look, this is precisely why I don't go to pubs, because you never know when the wokies are going to take over it, and then you're going to be ashamed to have stepped in the pub in the first place. My local pub is called the Ham and Bastard. I don't go there because one day it's going to be changed to something like, I don't know, the Flower and the Naughty Man. And I won't be there for that. I'm not going to drink somewhere called the Flower and the Naughty Man.
Why would they choose those names?
Is there a naughty man in your
Is there a naughty man in the pub?
neighbourhood?
Yeah, what? Is there a local naughty man?
Is that what it would be named after? Historical naughty man?
Because if you've got the so-called, I don't know, offensive word of bastard, what are you going to change it to? Well, it's going to be either Naughty Man or Saucy Man, isn't
I mean,
it?
if anything, it's probably more offensive to bastards.
You know what? I've not heard of a local delinquent like that for a long time. So you've got a local naughty man and a local saucy man, have you?
So you're focusing on the wrong details here. The details is more about what the pub represents.
Right.
I see.
I see. So the Flower and Saucy Man, which could be the name of this particular pub of yours, inspired by a local hero? No, that's what it could be called. And you wouldn't want to drink
I think long ago, it was the Ham and Bastard. I think it was about a rather dodgy fellow.
Yes.
Who would stole a lot of pigs.
Yes.
Okay.
And he ate them.
The thing is,
well, that is naughty and saucy. Now, I do have one other suggestion, Eshaan. I'm just going to throw it into the mix. That the sly old fox could actually be changed without much, money, any additional cost. We just take the F and we draw around it and turn it into the sly old box. Capital B, capital F to capital B. It's easy.
You can't attribute characteristics to an inanimate object.
Well, you're not offending anyone unless.
But Producer Martin, who's going to want to drink at the sly old box?
Touch.
The sly old box sounds horrific.
Sounds like something from Harry Potter.
The sly old box sounds sticky.
Or sore. It sounds creepy, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I take that back. Probably shouldn't.
I would never want to drink at the sly old box.
No, I wouldn't do it.
But in
another pub I'll never go into, the sly old box. No, thank you very much.
Yeah, I've met some people with sly old boxes. There's anything good in a sly old box, is there?
Sorry, who do you know has got a sly old box?
Oh, there's a few people in the local neighbourhood who
they carry them around.
Yeah, carry them around their sly old boxes.
Yes, you know what they put. Do you know what people put in their sly old boxes? I'll tell you. It's usually their Siamese twin from birth. That's what they do. That's where they go. Their Siamese twin from birth who's become mutilated is usually called Bilal or something like that.
Bilal the Siamese twin?
Yes, and they hide in sly old boxes.
I feel like this is referencing some kind of B movie that I haven't.
What's Bilal's twin brother's name?
I can't remember. He's got a normal name like Simon or something. Bilal is the name of the twin in the box. In the sly old box.
Sly old box. Well, in any case, PETA...
I don't want to go drink in there. I don't want to have my face bitten off by a mutated Siamese twin.
Okay. I'm not sure this is really doing us any favours. I mean, there could be some Siamese twins listening in, and it doesn't sound like it's the most complimentary.
Is PETA going to cancel me now? Is that what's going to happen? PETA's going to come and shut down me as well as the sly old fox. Well, you know what? Me and the sly old fox, we're not going to stand for it. You heard it here first, PETA. Well, I think that concludes everything we need to talk about in this week's section.
There was a couple of other things I wanted to say, but
No, we've said it. We've stood firm. PETA knows where we stand now, that we're not going to bow down to them and their wokey ways. They can't take away us and our sly old box with our Siamese twin, or our sly old fox, or our sly old cocks. There are lots of different things, and I protect them all. This is Harriet Langley Swindon, and that was Eshaan Akbar's hot and spicy takeaway of the week. Well, that's it for now. We'll be back next week. So in the meantime, like, subscribe, tell your friends, follow the Out of Context Nonsense's Blue Sky account, and remember that there's loads of stuff on our Patreon, patreon.com/noncensored. So if you enjoy the show, please do support us if you can. With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Will Sebag-Montefiore, Sooz Kempner, and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.